going
No,
here.
we gotta get going, okay.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Let's call a meeting of the Pelican Reserve Advisory Committee to order. We have a quorum. Everybody's here except Jan Bierce. Don't know whether she can make it or not. Approval of the November 10th, 2016 minutes. Nancy, you told me you have some.
I gave Diane some changes to
I
item
have some
number
comments
8.
on it too,
Okay. Yeah, I saw the one that you made where.
but it was not changed.
It wasn't changed. Very frustrating.
It's very good.
frustrating.
Give it to her.
I mean, it's just a matter of.
Okay, well, do we have any comments or changes to comments upon or changes to the minutes, John?
Item 6 should, in
Should
accordance
read.
with the agenda, should
Yes.
read capital asset work group report.
Yeah.
Item 8, changes that I think I've asked her to make, I don't have my copy in front of me. But, the last part of a sentence to the first paragraph in number 8, I just took that out because it's not a complete sentence. She stated it was tabled in a conference call of a work group. That's out.
Oh, okay.
And what else did I do? Oh, yeah. Let's see what else. Mr. Cole stated.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was-
Nancy Hall stated she will call district council and give him the, and I changed this, it wasn't correct number. They said correct information regarding the resolution,
Okay.
because it wasn't a number. There's Jan. And I think that might have been it.
Okay. Anyway, Diane has, if there are any.
Diane
others there-
has my copy of the
Okay.
changes.
I
Um,
assume she has mine, she just,
Nice.
maybe not.
Yeah,
I'll ask her.
okay. Yeah, because you did send it to her, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I find sometimes, I made extensive changes, before you got the copy that you got, most of which were correct, so I have no
It's an old
changes or additions.
thing that,
Any
you
other
made
comments,
changes.
questions, changes, additions? If not,
Make a motion that we approve the minutes?
As amended.
With modifications, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved. Okay, financials update. Nancy, do you have comments to
I
make?
have a few comments. I did run the profit and loss versus actual, with the information I had through October. There's probably gonna be corrections to it. I spoke with Sarah yesterday. We've had no, FPL bills for the month of October at all, and I know we didn't go.
I saw that with zero, yeah.
Yes, I know we didn't have a month without any, so we'll talk about that later. And there were a couple of other ones that were just misclassified that I had contacted Jason, and he was getting them reclassified. The only kind of things that stand out a little bit is we're way above budget on our fire impact fees. I think we budgeted,
In the budget column, Nancy, are we seeing 2/12? Is that what we're seeing in here?
this is just 1/12, because this is
1/12.
just through October.
Okay, this is,
So, and I'm
okay,
not-
cause it said
yeah.
December 5th.
Oh, that's the day I ran
October
it.
through December.
Yeah, that's the day I ran it.
Okay, so it's only it's only October through November.
Yeah,
Okay.
it only has October information,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm not sure why I input the budget into QuickBooks, and I think last year it was showing the annual budget in that column.
Yeah.
And this year it's
This
showing
year
it
it's, yeah,
for the month.
so it just splits it up into 12 months?
So yeah, I haven't run the one for November yet, so I assume in November it'll show 2/12 there and then 3/12 as we go on throughout the year, so.
Mhm.
Not sure why it's doing it differently this year, but I have the Apple version of QuickBooks and Jan had the other version, so it could be just difference in.
Jan and Chris.
Chris, I'm sorry.
That's all
right.
I'm sorry.
What excuse me, Nikki, what happened with fire impact fees? Was there a major sale of some of those?
Yes. Remember, we brought,
Right, and we said,
Right,
Mhm.
we approved.
we
how much
approved-
is left, do we know?
Don't know.
I don't know if we can tell that by looking at the balance sheet that they prepare, that might have,
We probably ought to know how much is left
Yeah.
to sell.
Yeah,
now this just shows the budget, it doesn't show, on the well, that's, no, on the balance sheet it might.
Nancy, maybe you could just take that as a to-do to
Yeah.
find out how much
Okay,
we have left in fire impact fees.
okay, I'll contact Stephen and ask
Yeah.
him.
So at what point do we close the budget out and you give us final numbers for the year?
As soon as I see the final one from Stephen Bloom,
Probably January, typically it's about
probably
3 month lead.
January, I would think.
Three month
You know,
lag.
I don't think it's gonna change much from what we already have, I doubt there'd be very many
Shouldn't-
changes.
It shouldn't change much.
I mean, there,
No, but there's some things that are just late.
Yeah.
yeah, there might be a couple things move around a little bit, but the numbers, the final numbers should be what we've seen so far, but we'll wait till we get his to know for sure. And then the other one, interest on investments is a little low from the budget, and I don't know how our interest is paid on our CDs, a lot of them are quarterly, so that might not ever completely match up if the interest is only posted quarterly on them, because they're all bought at different times too, so. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I brought it up briefly at last month's meeting, but we're having a lot of cars hitting the gates at the front entranceway, and
We shouldn't have put those lights on.
I guess the
and
lights
we
aren't
thought
working
these
or they
lights was
attracted
gonna
people.
fix that, yeah, but it doesn't seem to be. And I don't, maybe Sarah will know this, does it seem to be more that one where people exit that's getting hit more?
I think that the front one got dinged a little bit, and then probably the exit one, because people are flying out.
They're trying to piggyback on each other, I think.
Instead of waiting, there's a loop that they have to cross that opens the gate,
Mhm.
and they're going like 80 miles an hour and expecting the gate to catch up, and it doesn't work
Yeah.
like that.
And I thought too, sometimes I see people try to piggyback behind somebody else on their way
It's
out.
almost like you need the trap gate getting out.
But isn't that revenue neutral to us? Don't we charge these people that are wrecking our gate?
Well,
If we can catch them, but
if-
the problem is they're already going that fast, and there's not a camera that catches their, you know. them
The actual
really-
impact?
so, so I guess that's the question, if we're gonna have that happening a lot, is it worth it having a camera at that end too? We have a camera coming in, right?
Yes,
But not one going out, and I don't know how much those cameras cost, but,
probably more than the gate arm.
Yeah.
probably,
Oh,
but,
yes,
I mean,
sure.
we've already had it hit several times this year out so far. And the one, and I don't know why this one was so much more expensive, but in November, there was a $3,000 repair to the gate for some.
That was actually on the entry side and was down and backed into the controller.
Had to replace the whole
Controller,
thing,
yeah, the
but
whole
that's the one we
thing
have
had
the
to be-
insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the insurance.
Yeah,
So that will be reimbursed.
Yes.
right.
Hi, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a green Mercury parked in front of our bay. Is that?
That's mine.
Okay.
But
Would it be possible for you to move that, or maybe?
it's a green one.
Yeah, it's in front of our bay. We can't get in to our bay.
I'm in a parking space.
Yeah, I understand, but it just happens
Oh.
to be a parking space in front of our bay.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's kind of an odd place to put a parking space.
Yeah, I parked there
Mine's
first and
green,
then backed
not
up
red.
and parked somewhere else.
So anyway, it seems like it's happening more often, and I don't know what we can do about it, if we need, I don't know if we could put something in the newsletter pointing out how much it costs us to repair these, so that people are aware it's happening.
I think definitely something should go in the newsletter, whether that will solve the problem, I doubt it.
Or-
Are there any other, Bob, do you have any other suggestions?
Yeah, some communities do have the exit arms, but during the day, during the busiest times, they keep them up. So they have that traffic going out, and they got a lot of wear and tear, so they keep them up from certain hours.
And we've started doing that as well.
I noticed it was
I've
up
seen
today
that.
when I
Yeah.
woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to prevent it. Doesn't slow them down though, they'll go faster now.
Yeah,
Well, the one thing by,
What's the purpose of the gate anyhow?
So they don't drive in the out,
People don't come in that way.
they do that.
People are going, well, it's not a gated community anyhow, so.
Okay,
But-
well, this is
But we
not a
still-
general discussion item.
Yeah, but we still like to monitor who's coming in.
Huh?
We still like to monitor who's coming in, even
But
though
the
we have to.
suggestion that we keep it open during certain times of the day
That's
is a
the
great
exit
one.
gate.
Yes, the
Yeah,
exit gate. That's a great suggestion.
And Jason says we're already doing that.
Or just starting.
Is that on a
Sometimes.
regular schedule, or you guys just arbitrarily leave it open?
There is no set schedule at this time.
Okay.
But
So-
I can work with them to, to pinpoint the high traffic times.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or just set business, like 8 to 5 every day or
Exactly,
something,
yeah.
just.
Or dusk to dawn,
Yeah.
kind of a thing,
Yeah.
leave it closed. and
Jason,
dawn
what,
to dusk,
if you would
leave
put
it
something in
open.
the letter about it,
And note that
That would be
people will be
good.
charged when
Yes.
it's hit.
Yes, yeah,
people
definitely.
will be
by
charged
the
when
way.
it's hit,
And, and that might be the difference, if they realize they're gonna have
Yeah.
to pay if they hit it,
Mhm.
so.
Could we propose that a standard operating procedure be established to keep it open during certain hours?
That's where we get their recommendation.
yeah.
Rather
I
than
think
us
end
engineering
up
it.
doing that, makes sense, it seems.
Well,
Whose
So exactly
recommendation are we
what
waiting for?
hours?
Jason,
we
will
do it.
you, at the next meeting, give us the analysis of when the high traffic hours are and when you recommend it be left open?
Right.
And then we
Yep.
can
We can
Yeah.
modify it.
Sure,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you could relate it to when the gate was actually hit, whether it's being hit during the high traffic period or other times. I don't know if you can gather that detail or not.
Do you have any idea what percentage of people we hit, people who hit it we identify? So how many are being charged back to their insurance companies or them, or how many were not even?
I wouldn't know how to really
do that.
gauge that. I mean, I could say that if it's the entry side, more often than not,
Okay.
it's the exit side that we deal with. And the only concern that I would have with even keeping the gate open all the time is that you will have a very high increase of travel time out of the community. And we have a lot of people that are on bikes and golf carts exiting and coming on the community. So I would just be worried of the speed issue that could,
Oh, by leaving the gate open?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the point of the
Least-
gate
Good comment.
exit is
Yeah, but at
to
least,
slow
yeah,
people
the
down
gate
so they're
slows
not
them
just
down.
rushing out of the
Doesn't stop
community.
Yes, it does.
Slows them
Yeah.
down.
It
and
does
lets-
slow.
Yeah, it does.
Obviously not enough.
Right.
People piggyback all the time, and the gate apparently works, so once it's up, it stays up as long as the cars are within 10 feet of the one in front of them. I went through it 3 times today, and it never came down, it just stayed
Well,
up.
it was locked
It's
open.
up.
Well, it's locked
It's
open.
'cause
It's
it's
locked
locked
open
up.
today.
It's locked up.
It was not open when I went through earlier this morning.
Okay. So anyway, I'm trying to track it. Whenever I review the invoices, I look to see if I can tell when it was caused by an accident, and then I contact Jason to try to follow up on it. And the other issue with that is, I don't think we were handling the money from the insurance correctly. It's just been going into the account that Castle Group maintains, and so we're never getting information saying that we've been reimbursed for it, and I think that money really needs to go back to the CDD. Because basically Castle Group's getting the money for it twice, from the CDD and then from insurance. So, right now Sarah and I have talked about when they submit the monthly bills, when they've received a reimbursement, they'll just show the account number and the amount of reimbursement and subtract it from the subsequent month's reimbursement, so that it balances out. Because somehow it has to be accounted for, the CDD. As an example, with the gate in particular, when we get reimbursed, when I do the budget, I'm basing it on the total gate repairs for the
Yeah.
year, whether we've been reimbursed or not, when actually the budget should be based on the actual number that we're not reimbursed for.
So
And-
will this thing you agreed with Sarah to clear up the problem?
I think so, yeah,
Okay.
because
Jason and I discussed it today, he'll take off anything that we've deposited, which is 2 so far, off the next funding.
off the next month, so that
Okay.
we'll ask the CDD for a smaller amount of funding the next
Okay.
month. And then the other issue we have with damage, we had 2 invoices from Ameriscape for damage done by, at the Palazzo Circle, where the construction trucks have run over the circle. And there's no way of saying what truck did it, but we know it's construction traffic. I really think we should be talking about to WCI about reimbursing for them, their construction being done. I don't think we should be paying for their construction vehicles damaging things. And they're not gonna have any accountability if we don't ask them to. And so far, they weren't that much. I mean, it was, I think, about $335 or so for the damage done
They're
last
the
month.
only ones that are constructing.
They're the only ones constructing, yeah. so I don't know how we go about doing that.
Is Joe Smith the guy we should talk to?
Probably not.
Not, I suspect not.
There's a land development lady
It's the
or
land
something.
development person.
Yeah, I think it's a young lady.
Mhm.
I know she's the boss, but, Smith is a good place to start, Hillside.
Start with Smith?
Yeah, yeah,
Because they've changed some
Identify
names a
where to
few
go.
times.
yeah.
Okay.
There shouldn't be much pushback on that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so.
John, would you follow up on that?
Okay.
And that's all I have on budget issues.
I just have a couple of questions. In looking at some of the contract things, like the main contract,
Mm-hmm.
I assume that comes in on a monthly basis, right, a regular monthly basis?
Yeah, like under the, landscape contract, the
Well,
first one?
I'm looking at, yes, under landscape contract.
Okay,
And it seems to me if what we're seeing there is 1 month of budget, but the landscape contract is half of that number, I'm just kinda wondering what's
Oh,
happening.
because Cypress Grove, we're not being charged anything. You're looking at,
Well, no, oh, I see, because I see, but it looks like Cypress Grove is a separate contract.
it is, but when you look at the, Cypress Grove, it shows you 0 expenses, shows you
Right.
the budget at
But-
0%, the main contract, and then that line you're looking at is the total of the two.
No, I'm looking at the main contract line. And there you got $9,300 and the budget says 20,000. I'm just wondering what's happening there.
Mine shows 9388 on both of them.
Because our
Yours is
sheet
different.
shows
Oh.
20,000.
Our sheet's got
Oh.
20 grand.
Huh?
I must have made corrections after I sent that out?
Yeah,
I guess so.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
resend
That's
this one to
corrected.
you.
Huh?
it's corrected.
It's
on
correct, I'll send this
Okay.
one back.
there.
to
The
you.
93's in both columns, the 20 should
Yeah.
double show.
And did we also correct the one for access control, which has the similar problem?
You know, I probably made corrections after I sent this out.
Okay. Okay.
And you know,
Okay.
yours,
I'll
that
back
might be
away.
why yours shows December 4th, there might be some of November expenses in yours, I didn't
Okay.
think I had run it then,
Okay.
but, so yeah,
And the landscape contract too, the same question?
yeah,
Okay.
Good way to make sure we're reading it, Nancy.
yeah, that's true. So,
And then, again, I'm using one that I printed off from your email. When I get to the very last page, where we get to waterway management, there's no budget.
well, we don't do that budget.
I know, Bob does, but is there?
498, we're fine with that. I could get you monthly
Yeah.
reports.
Hmm?
I can give you monthly reports.
Well, I think we should at least put the budget in there, since this is our financial.
Oh, I'm okay with that, yeah.
Yeah, so can you get the budget to Nancy?
This comes from Stephen, right?
Yeah, the expenses come from Stephen.
Stephen's got it. He's got the budget, he's got the expenses.
Oh, he does?
So I'll just ask Stephen to
Yeah,
send
I
me
mean,
the
it
budget.
seems to me that we ought to be complete.
Yeah.
We ought to.
That's not a problem.
We
Yeah,
ought to at
because-
least have that information in there.
Yeah, the budget items I put in here are just the ones that
Yeah,
we had
historically, it's just
done.
been separate, but there's no reason.
Yeah.
They all come to the same place.
Yeah.
They're all separate trucks.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, but it still would
yeah.
be
Yeah,
easier if you showed
item
it
by
in
item,
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
ought to be
it'd be
there.
good to have it in there because, we put the shared operating, shared O&M expenses in there, and I assume those are the ones from the shared O&M expenses, the top
Mhm.
line on the last page.
Mm-hmm,
Those are the allocated things, I assume,
Mhm.
from the remainder of the gateway, right?
on the second page,
Yeah.
shared operating and maintenance.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually our third page, isn't it?
Third page, well, I'm looking at different copies,
Yeah,
but it says total shared operating and maintenance expense,
of the 36, oh, your numbers, yeah,
36.
right above waterway management.
36,852.80.
Right,
Yeah, and we're
Um,
way above budget on that because of those plant replacements we did at the end of last year, the
Oh,
final
okay.
payment came into this year.
all right,
Those trees, I think, on,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Nancy, I have a question on the construction truck causing problems. Where exactly was that again?
In Palazzo.
At the circle, between Viadana and Palazzo, there's a traffic circle there.
Roundabout.
Yeah, roundabout.
That roundabout.
That they cut the corner. or-
They're cutting the corner.
They
They've
go around,
damaged.
they don't have enough room and they go off on the
Yeah, they've damaged the, sprinkler system, and then they had to replace the, turf there too.
All right, any more questions or comments on the financials? Okay, let's move on to association manager report. And certainly, Jason, I don't know whether you have other things to report to us. But we need to get at the letter about the Going Live system.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
That's it? Okay. With regard to the Going Live, Bob, do you wanna come forward?
Bob French with Securitas. So I sent out, there was 2 documents we sent out. One was the standard welcome letter that's sent to all residents. And I also sent the frequently asked questions for Dwelling Live. I didn't know if anyone had time to look at the YouTube video.
When were they sent?
These would have been sent
Oh, these were sent
some time ago.
Right.
Probably after the last
Never
meeting,
got one.
yeah.
Huh?
I never got one.
But so you know, Jan, I sent you, today, I sent you a sample because I let you go in and do the login.
Today?
So I sent it to you today. So you get one of these, so you can actually go in and play with it a bit. It's in a sandbox, so you can be a resident and update your information, add a guest, or whatever it may be. So we talked about that in the last meeting, so I gave you access to it.
So that,
So,
you sent to everybody today.
No, just to Jan.
no, this one
I
just went to
asked
Jan to
my
play with
play
the
with it.
system.
Oh,
To see how she logs in, how it works. If anyone else wants access, let me know. I can set it up and I'll send you one of these letters electronically and you can go try it, you
It's
know.
just a sample system, not a live one.
It's not live, it's a sandbox. It's very similar to what you'll have, though. It's got all the same criteria. So I can certainly do that as well. But this is what the residents will get, this here, not electronically, but once again, via mail. Because every key code is unique, you know. In this case, because we have a new resident, let's say we have a new resident, we'll electronically send it to them, and they'll be able to log in for the first time. But because we have a plethora of homes that can't do electronically, we're gonna have to do it by fire paper. Did everyone read the frequently asked
Yeah,
question?
I have some questions or comments.
Okay,
The welcome, let's start with the welcome letter. Now, the date, when will we be ready to go?
that's our next point. Once we don't get stuck on the date, we can put the date in 2 seconds.
Yes, I
yeah.
understand.
So we gotta decide when we think we're ready. If the letters are ready,
Yeah.
then we gotta talk about the mailing. Then we gotta establish the actual start date. I just gotta get with Dwelling Live, give them the date, make sure they agree. And then we can import the data over, pull the letters down, send them out, that type of thing. I think on my frequently asked questions, we were targeting early January for live.
Early January.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming that, you know, the one I got, the first example was Norma Real, you know, from Clearwater, Florida. I'm assuming that's where everybody's individual address will be.
that's correct.
But this, it says the Ultima? The Ultima is providing you. What is that?
That's the name of the community, in Clearwater. That will have Pelican Preserve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a standard basic letter, so
Okay.
it comes all customized to you guys.
On the frequently asked questions,
Mm-hmm.
question 4, it says, where do I get my registration code? And it says, please refer to the letter sent via mail to your Pelican Preserve address. Shouldn't it say, please refer to this letter? It's in here, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be in there, but it's used in other
I
capacities, so,
understand
yeah.
that,
So
but-
we can
but
change that.
We need to change that, it seems to me.
Yep, I agree with that.
And number 3, I got a little confused. First-time users must click on, quote, I have a one-time use registration code. I assume the quote should end there,
Mm-hmm,
found on the right side of the login block, right?
mm-hmm,
There should be a comma there.
yep,
Okay.
And close quote.
And a close quote.
I got you, correct.
Yes, and a close quote and then a comma.
Registration code.
The other thing is question 5.
Mm-hmm,
If I don't have a registration code, well, everybody who's getting this letter is gonna have a registration code.
that's correct.
So, you know, that seems to be a kind of
Kind of a-
an
okay.
irrelevant question.
Not really. there's gonna be a small percentage of people that just don't get this, whether it's tossed out and,
But they won't get the FAQs either.
well, but
Yeah.
we should put out something that, in a newsletter even, that says, if you've not received
Yes,
this,
I
you can
know.
call this number.
Yes, I agree.
To cover,
Yeah.
cover all bases.
Yes, I agree, Jen, we
Okay.
need to do that, but, you know, for this particular mailing,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily need that question.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll delete that down.
If people are having problems following this,
Mm-hmm.
should there be a note saying, if that's your case, call this number?
Well, yeah, and, yeah. I guess it's,
See what I'm saying?
a general question.
Just a yeah, if I can't get it to work, and, you know,
Well,
for whatever reason,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
should we have a contact location, go to this phone number or whatever?
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only problem is that sometimes people see that and they automatically, it's kind of like reading the directions. You never read the directions, put anything together. Then they go right to the phone number, help me, tell me what to do.
yeah.
Whereas it's like, well, you're gonna typically go somewhere if you need help. I just don't wanna inundate the office. Because everyone will stop right there and call the office. How do I do this? You know, it's like, forget the directions, we'll just try to put it together, you know? I'm
If they're gonna
open.
have a certain number, they
so.
won't be able to get it.
Yeah,
They won't be able to
that's true.
follow it.
Well, maybe we should put it at the bottom, if anything.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so they can go through all the steps, and then if they have a problem, we can put, if you absolutely have a problem, then please contact the office at this number.
Absolutely. I mean, if you have a problem.
For, yeah, so I would put it at the bottom and kind of reframe that. Do you agree with that?
At the bottom and reword it.
Yeah, the bottom
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
When it says that residents can send an e-pass directly to their visitors, is this something they'd have to print out?
No, it's on the phone, it's like a TSA pass, so it's gonna
Okay,
show
so
up
they
on
can
your phone.
just show it to my
So they're gonna
phone?
show it like this, and then they'll scan it.
And if they don't have a smartphone, then they
Can't do it.
can't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Not something they can print out like you can boarding
I
pass.
think you can print it out, though. You can print it out. You can print it out still like a TSA pass, like a boarding
Okay.
pass,
Okay.
and carry it,
So,
yeah.
so it could be sent to a computer rather than a smartphone?
Yes, via email or via text, yeah. Just like TSA,
Okay.
like a boarding pass.
I have a question on number 9. I'm a little uncomfortable with the phrasing. Can you still call the gatehouse to schedule a visitor? Yes, but we encourage all residents to schedule a visitor using the management software.
Mhm.
I've met several people in the past month that don't know how to use the current system we have. They don't have it on, well, they don't have it on their cell phone because they probably can't, but they don't use the computer. They actually call the gatehouse. So, yes, you can call the gatehouse if you don't have any other options available, but I just have a little bit of trouble with the wording. We encourage you all to use the system.
What,
We do encourage
don't we
them all.
encourage them to use the
Isn't
system?
that what we're doing?
Some people can't, and some
Well,
people
and they
won't.
can, so then they can.
I mean, obviously,
But
if you're
we
having a
want-
problem,
we
whether
want
you
to
have a
encourage
computer or
them.
not,
Right.
I would call. I would direct your attention to the document I passed out. I thought we should have a covering letter.
Yes.
From us,
is that this?
and unfortunately, I didn't get it to you earlier, but I composed a draft of such a covering letter. And Bob, I guess,
No.
did you get a copy, Jan?
I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't see the letter yet.
I didn't see the letter.
It's in something that was just passed to you.
I did see that.
And this is just a draft of something, but it's from us to the
Probably in that
community,
file.
saying we're putting this system into effect, and we really need you to use it, because it's going to be helpful to the community. And that's basically where I was coming out on this thing. That it would be something that you could use. Why don't we take about, I mean, it's very short, take about three minutes to read it and see what you think.
What will be the heading on the,
I don't know. I put Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee.
they may think it's just a report. It should be a regular, I think come out as a letter. Dear resident,
No, there is a letter that says, "Dear resident," that's what he's covering.
I know, that's
Let
what
it know
this
it's-
is, but what will this heading be?
No, there's another letter that's coming from the community association. And we're covering it with this, is what Phil's proposing, just so that,
There is another letter?
What's the other letter?
What's the other letter?
Most communities will put another, not another letter, a letter from the association, so this is representing it, and then these two attachments.
Right.
okay.
So I can,
I mean, that's, we had
Yeah.
kind of briefly discussed that
Yeah.
last time, and I just took a cut at drafting one, that's all. That I thought we should have a covering letter. You know, so that they know where it's coming from and a little bit more about why we want them to use it.
Since, just following up on what John said, should it not come from Castle? The management company, just from the standpoint of, there probably are still a high number of people in the community that have no idea what PPAC is.
That's true.
Right.
And everybody knows who Castle is.
Mm-hmm.
I like PPAC. I like it, I like something,
That we should have a letterhead.
yeah,
Mhm.
bingo.
We don't have time to kind of get a letterhead together.
Sure, it's easy.
I can put a letterhead together in like 5 minutes.
I do all the time, too.
What concerns me, I'm amazed at the number of my neighbors that don't know how to turn on a computer. So there are a lot of folks that don't use computers. Most folks use cell phones, but even those don't know how to access different things. I spoke with a couple this morning and they don't know how to check their emails, and I'm like,
See, I've had
We're
very
in
little experience like
2016.
that.
I actually
I've
have
had
the
very
Pelican
little
app on my
experience like
phone.
that.
It's so easy to use.
Mhm.
I use it for my association, but it's literally just 2 touches. You just open it and then you just select a guest and it pulls it right from your contact list.
I mean,
It's great.
it's clear in a community like this that we're dealing with a lot of us.
so I like the idea of a letter.
Who are not very
I like the idea of a letter,
computer
and from
adept.
PPAC, yeah.
But, you know, that's the situation, there's nothing we can do about that. I think we gotta do the best we can on training people and getting them to use the system.
What might catch their attention, I think this is a well-written letter, is like a little subject line that says, making our community more secure. That might grab some attention. I don't know.
But I agree, like a letterhead instead of just the name
Yeah, a
across the
letterhead
top.
with the
A little
subject.
letterhead And a subject.
Yeah, just
And
like
then
you would
the
send
body. I
a
like the
business letter.
Yeah, I like the letter just the way it's written. But yeah, just a letterhead and a subject line.
Yep. You want me to draft up a letter?
Yes, Jan, would you take that on?
I'll be glad to.
And
Could you add in, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead,
Could
and
just
then any
add-
changes you think need to be made
Yeah,
to this
just-
letter, I have no,
Just add in that this replaces capture somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that may,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah.
Yep, okay, I think that's good.
And it's not, and they're not gonna automatically be switched over. They have to do it.
For
Right,
those-
right, that's a good point.
For those of
You
you
realize
who are,
that?
so there'd be a separate sentence, for those of you who've been using capture,
You
this is
must.
a replacement, and you are gonna need to shift over, something like that. effect.
Notifying
point.
you of a security enhancement.
Right.
Yeah, there you
Capture
go.
will disappear as of,
Right, exactly, right.
Yeah.
There, you know, so any changes you think are appropriate, Jan,
sure, I'll send you a draft.
well, yeah, okay.
Well,
you know,
you could send all of us.
All of us a draft.
We send
Yeah.
it through
Through
Diane.
Diane, send us all a draft.
And we'll all get it.
Yep,
And then you can all give me comments and suggestions.
right,
Yay.
okay.
Question,
Give them back to
what
Diane.
address do we use for our letterhead?
Good. That is a good question.
Here,
Here,
Okay.
It has to be here,
PPAC's
yes,
Yep.
place of residence.
has to
Yeah,
be here.
and now,
care
you
of
see,
Gateway.
you see in that letter, you know, I took,
Right on top
I
of your-
gave us credit for being, you know, the progenitors of this system.
Make a unique logo for us.
Improving it.
I'm
Yeah.
going to.
And Jan, it doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be,
It might-
PPAC.
yeah.
it doesn't have to be
Pelican
in
in it.
care of Gateway.
Huh?
It doesn't have to be in care of Gateway, it's PPAC at
Right.
this address.
Okay,
Right.
good.
Do a logo with PPAC.
You want graphics.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
and a pelican too.
I'm thinking the same thing, okay. Include birds.
All right, so having
You're
said
losing
all that,
control, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
this will not be completed until our next meeting.
I,
We can get this rectified before the end of the year so that it's ready to go
I-
the
I-
Well, I
end of
understand, but I
December.
mean, in terms of final approval, we'll have to wait for our next meeting.
I
could do
think
a
we could,
vote.
I think we could have a final approval, you know, that we could give Jan the okay
Okay.
to draft it with review, by the committee, and then we could get it going that way.
Can it be voted on by email?
No.
No,
So we have to have a meeting to,
no,
Well,
I don't think we have, I
we're
think we
gonna
can
vote
approve
on
it
it
today.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
We can
Give
approve,
Jan total authority.
Wow.
we can approve it in substance.
Yeah.
We like your logo.
It's like a not to exceed expenditure,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Um,
And if the expenditure that.
I mean, I get paid for
that had
this?
been approved by the CBD.
Double what you're getting
expenditure
now.
side,
Checks in the mail,
Mailing
Jan.
side.
Thank
Huh?
you.
Checks in the
That-
mail.
That's been approved by the
That's
CBD,
been, the
that part.
CDD has approved the
They've
man,
approved that.
approved the money.
Okay.
So, I would, entertain a motion, that we give Jan.
Word it clearly,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Diane is gonna.
Yeah, I, you know, we can do the wording for Diane, but you know, that we,
We approve the
approve
concept,
the concept and
and
that
the
we,
grammatical construction will be delegated
to,
to,
yeah.
subject
that
to
we
review.
That we delegate.
So when it's all approved, who's sending it out?
Yeah.
With Castle.
We coordinate.
Castle.
No, you guys.
Castle.
We'll coordinate because we have the mailing.
Okay.
That person over there.
Castle is the one that.
Jason, you get it?
Jason.
Okay.
There he is.
Was that in the form of a motion? Did you get that motion?
Yeah. Was there a motion? Okay.
Yeah, it's,
Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Shepherd? Huh?
Second.
Seconded.
Approve.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
On the same topic,
yes.
and once it's set that it's going to be going out, should a copy of this letter be provided to the Residents Alliance to send it out
Absolutely.
simultaneously
Okay.
By email?
by email to their community?
Right.
Yeah.
and I think
So
they're on the
send it to
January
Carol
meeting.
Brockey.
Yes, I'm assuming at the January meeting that we
This
will
will-
have a presentation on this same subject.
At the Residents Alliance
Can you
January meeting.
attend that?
Yeah, just let me know. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We have a date for that? Does anybody know?
I've seen a date, but I don't
There is a
remember,
date.
17th or
17th.
You
I think.
probably wanna do a real quick tutorial with
Okay.
slides on this is what each, cause you'll have more residents there.
Okay.
Than to attend a lot of.
Yeah, we can do that.
What is the very earliest you think this could be online?
I'm gonna play safe, probably, with the mailing and everything, for early January. Don't you think? That gives us,
Yeah.
yeah.
First week,
Because of the holiday, I'd put it back one more week. Yeah.
second week?
I'd say out live by January 15th would be clear.
A lot of people aren't gonna be getting back until the first week. of
That's what I'm saying. It's not a bad thing to do it right in the beginning of January as people return back.
Try to
Then
get
they'll
it out
get
the
in.
week of the 9th, only because if we're gonna have the residents on the 17th, they'll have a week to digest.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
And formulate questions.
Is that the Residents Alliance meeting?
I believe that's the date.
I'm
I
sending
think-
something to Carol now.
Well, as soon as we get the letters, that will definitely push it up. So
Okay.
as soon as we get that final package from you all, then we can. push it
Exactly.
forward.
Then we can keep moving quick.
Okay.
But I gotta give you guys time to do that.
We
That's,
have to send
yeah.
it to production
Yeah.
and all, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
Any
February.
more discussion of this? Questions of Bob?
Oh, just one quick one.
Yes, ma'am.
From the date you mail the letter out, how much lead time are you gonna give people before it kicks in? Like, if you mail it on the 10th, how much lead time?
Well, you figure probably 2 or 3 days for mailing, so you usually mail them like 3 days before.
But are you gonna go live, are you gonna set a date, like we'll go live on this date to prepare for it, or would it be like all of a sudden it clicks over? That's what I think is what she's asking. So
Yeah.
if we mail it out, is it like, okay, come January 1, this will be effective, or something like?
Yeah, we need to put the live date. It's,
That should-
yeah,
absolutely.
the live date is this, even if they get it early. Now, they can still go in there and put their profile information there, but they can't schedule a guest into the live date.
Okay.
That makes sense? So they can still do updates and get things ready, and that's not a big problem.
Because, at least as drafted, you'll see that the letter, the covering letter says the date 2 times. So, whether you wanna keep that in there or not. is up there.
Okay.
Further questions of Bob? Okay, I think this is good, but there will, Jan, to your point, there are gonna be a lot of, a lot of people who are, this is gonna be a continuing, education and information issue that we're gonna have to just keep going forward with.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
Before Bob leaves.
Yes.
He and I and Jason, Jason, I think you got my email from yesterday, I guess it was, I sent to you, about the three of us getting together to talking about the rules.
I did not, I have not seen that yet, no.
Okay, well, I'll resend it to you. I'm pretty sure I got it to you yesterday, but, for the three of us to get together.
We're getting together.
About,
Yes.
the rules controlling access.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
With the barcoding and
Yeah.
restrictions on visitors and commercial and all
Mhm,
that good stuff.
mhm.
So you're gonna be presenting that to us, is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Real quick.
Yeah.
You hanging around, Bob?
Mhm.
No, I'll be leaving.
She's getting emails
Quick
on
question.
track
Mhm.
too, so
Are
she will
our
see it before she comes.
guards
Mhm.
in the
Yeah,
gate
sure.
and patrol guards
When I
armed
get
in
home,
any
I'll
way,
send
shape,
it
or
to
form?
No.
Cindy. I don't have.
Is the 17th right, or she didn't answer?
What?
That's gonna
Did
come up
Rocky
when we
answer
look
already?
at
No,
I
no,
just-
she's
the
still away.
GSCDD
Yeah,
requirement
I
to do
just,
a
Oh.
background check.
wanted to
Okay.
fill
Okay.
the
There's a way to get
paperwork or
around it.
whatever.
I got you. No, that's not an
November
issue.
16th, that's the date I remember.
Yeah.
I don't put
Okay.
it on the calendar yet.
Any more questions, Bob? Any discussions of this subject? Okay. Jason, you say you have no other report for us? Okay. Thank you, Ron. Capital Reserve Study. Nancy, have we made any yards on that one? Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Nothing has been done on it to date, except, I guess, I'm not sure if this happened at the prior meeting, before the prior meeting. Stephen, was given all the information. He had not received the Jack Richards report, so he had that to look at. I've not talked to him since he got a copy of that,
Mhm.
to see if that's helped them or not.
Okay. So we're still waiting for information from Stephen?
From Stephen, yes.
Okay, before we can
And,
take the next step.
and
is
I'm
that-
not pushing him until the budget is done, until the budget, the books have been closed,
Okay.
so.
Okay. PPAC charter, Ron is continuing. I will,
Unfortunately, no contact with Tony.
I will push Tony again.
Okay.
Ridiculous. Nancy, do we need to say anything more about the use of the bond funds?
Well, it was approved, the whole case was approved at the, not the last meeting, but the November 16th CDD meeting. And it was, following our meeting here, it was a busy week for myself, Tony, the folks from Tetra Tech, Bill Guy to some extent, and WCI, because WCI finally came around and agreed that it wasn't the 600,000 that they stood up and said they absolutely needed and were entitled to. It was substantially less than that, slightly over 200,000. So, so basically, we have access to the large part of the remaining bond funds, and at that point, once the board approved that, now it's up to Bob and his group to make their claims for it, and I
And
thought
I'm
I
gonna
saw.
report on that.
You've got a report
We're
on that.
well on the way. But that was a great job on that, Nancy.
Thank you.
It wasn't an easy task.
So it was a
I know.
busy week.
Any questions of Nancy on the use of bond funds? Okay, move along. GSCDD meeting report, board meeting report, John, do you have any?
I do, I passed this out briefly. Phil was able to get the CDD board to approve the expenditure for the letter, which has already been done.
And I think that brings up a question, and that is for Bob, you had mentioned, for a $2,000 expenditure, do we really have to go to the board, or is there somebody, can the
The
district
district manager can approve up to $9,999.
Okay.
So we don't have to go to them with those kind of
Okay.
amounts. And Ponds has routinely been doing that for a number of years.
Have they? Okay.
Speeds up, used to speed up the
Well,
process.
except that your money's been budgeted.
Budgeted.
No, but I just meant dollar value, not the item, not the area. In other words, yeah, that's budgeted money, you're absolutely correct.
Right.
Yes, and this was
This was
non-budget, this was
not
non-budgeted
budgeted
money.
So it did have to be approved.
Yes, it did
We
need
can-
separate
that
approval.
was
Unless we
discussed
paid
at
for
our
it
last meeting.
Unless we paid for it under something else we have budget for, but that does.
Well, in effect, that's what we do. It's fungible. But Nancy, you're saying it does have to go to the board?
If it's something that we haven't planned for in the budget, it would have to go to the board.
Okay.
All right, also at the meeting, Margaret Feinberg was elected chairman. Bill Guy is now vice chairman. WCI at the meeting requested that the operations manager sign the documents, and a lot more to this that I'm not gonna get into, that allows WCI to close on the new homes before the end of December in Area 9. And WCI brought their attorney, their engineer, their land development person, and Mr. Caldwell gave presentations. But finally, the CDD did give approval for the documents to be signed. A lot of this had to do with the operations manager being very selective in approving some of the documents. I don't wanna, her comments had some good points to them, and I think she's, but either she's being overcautious or she wants to change things, I don't know.
She ain't gonna be held responsible for squat, I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I think that, I listened to that part of it, and I think what I understood, and where I think the board kinda got maybe a little off track, is that I don't think she understood what her delegations are. And if she better understood what her delegations are, and then she didn't understand behind him what the rules were, then that's something.
But the
that
question,
should be-
why? I mean,
Been on the
she's been
job
here
long
long.
enough, Nancy, I'm
Yes,
I'm
I
through with
agree.
the excuses. I mean, that's
Well,
stumbling
that's up
block
to the,
after
that's up
stumbling
to,
block.
that's
To
up
the
to
board.
the supervisors.
That's right.
to-
And we did the right thing by bringing it up, that's why WCI came. They're suffering the same frustration the rest of us are.
I mean, they spent a lot of money bringing all
Oh,
those
yeah.
people here.
Yep.
All right, and the
Where's
last,
Area
And
9?
but this isn't, by the way, I think your reference to Area 9, that's the other, that was the other discussion, was the access to Area 9.
oh, that's right, I'm
Which is
sorry.
the-
I assume Area 9 is
It's
the flowway, east of the flowway?
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
I hadn't
The
referred
new
to it as
area,
that
Jan.
before,
Yeah.
but I
The
kinda
new
thought it
areas
was.
Yeah,
are in the back.
I was-
Behind us?
I was getting this typed up very quickly, and I,
Yeah.
Pisciello and Prado and stuff.
So that's the official name for it though, right now?
Area 9?
no, the Area 9 is the one across the,
Area
yeah, I
9 is the
goofed,
one-
that's the
is
wrong
one
number.
west- That's the area west of 75.
That had to do with access. That
All right, I'll
was,
forget
That
that.
has to do with access.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
Strike Area 9
Track
in
L
mine.
is,
Cypress
Strike
Grove.
Area
is
9.
right, is a specific portion of Cypress Grove right now.
Right, Track
Yeah.
L was one of the other things they were talking about.
But I don't know what to
Track-
call the new 281 or 481 acres.
Yeah.
You know, on the other side of the flow, I don't know what we refer to
So
that as.
if they're gonna sell start selling houses this month, is that guard shack gonna go way back there then? Because traffic has to be allowed to go in and out if people are gonna be living back there.
Don't know, it's true. We'll have
Good
to
question.
move. Yeah, I don't know, but they apparently had a lot of houses where they had promised people they were gonna close in December.
Well, I can tell you, they lock up that guard shack, cause I got locked on the wrong side.
Yeah, they lock
They
it
do
up.
lock it up.
And it's closed all day
Yeah.
Sundays.
I ride my bike back on Sunday.
I have my
because
golf
it's going
cart.
on.
You can, well, your golf, I could, well, you work right on the golf course.
I found a way back, but
Yeah.
I did learn they closed it. Just saying.
Anyway,
Also, there were also discussion, well, about organizational changes, and apparently that was not discussed at the December 1 meeting, and I believe they want to discuss some organizational changes at the next meeting. I do not know, and what those organizational changes will be.
The CDD does?
CDD.
yeah,
They're restructuring.
They want to
They've been
restructure
talking about that for
back here.
months and months.
they've been talking about it, and I think they're
They've hired a consultant,
consultant.
and Margaret Feinberg's been working with the consultant, and they're talking about 3 positions
Right.
instead of the 2, and,
Well, actually, a head and then 3
no,
positions, right?
3,
Oh.
3 with one of them being considered a head,
Okay.
plus,
They have not made those decisions, though. I think that's why they keep postponing it. I don't know.
It was deferred until the election was done. It will move swiftly now.
There are people who will push it hard, okay.
All right, one other thing that I did not want to put in the report, because it was not in the December meeting at all, but Tony made a comment that in our October minutes, one of the items that was discussed. It says Nancy Hall stated that roads need repaired and need to be kept in good shape. Monticello repairs their roads on a regular basis. He questioned that, and I sent him an email explaining that what we meant was Monticello repair their roads by putting sealers on them. They're
They
not.
paint their roads.
They're not repairing the
Correct.
roads.
They
Okay,
paint the roads.
Yeah, a lot of
Yes.
us have done that.
all right. And I said Portofino has done that and other communities have done the same
A lot of
thing.
us have done
It is not a repair and is not required for Tetra Tech to give approval.
But John, just sir, Tetra Tech did go out and look at the Monticello board's request, because there's a lot of cracking, et cetera.
Right.
And they said the road is still functional and good,
Okay.
and it would not support, Tetra Tech would not support a resurfacing.
All right. This brought a little more discussion with the operations manager, so I had a side discussion with her. Basically, that minor road repairs that, let's say, we did some in Portofino. Now, I did have Tetra Tech come out and look at Portofino's minor road, and he agreed, it was a road repair. We cut the road and did it according to a road repair procedure similar to what they would have written up. In our brief discussion, my brief discussion with April was, you don't want to get Tetra Tech involved, come on, write a spec, go out for bids, et cetera. I mean, this thing was less than $1,000. But if Portofino would like reimbursed, because it was a true repair, if Tetra Tech agreed to it, we should be reimbursed. April agreed to that, but basically said, and in discussion with her, over time, there are gonna be some road repairs being done. So, I agreed that I would work with PPAC, Tetra Tech, and the Master Association to create a practice and a procedure that would require approval under certain circumstances for other things other than routine road repairs.
If the community expects P-PAC to pay for it, Gateway to pay for it, then it ought to come through here.
Well, he's setting up
Well,
a
that's,
procedure for that.
for
I
a
mean,
major
apparently they
repair.
already spent it, no, if
For
it's
any
gonna-
repair-
if it's gonna cost money.
Well, I don't understand why we can't do it, maybe this is the plan, what Jason and Sarah have with sidewalk repairs.
Correct.
It'd be the same thing, that it has to be the,
There is already a budget for certain repairs in the Master Association, correct?
I know there is for sidewalk,
There is for roads.
for road
there
too.
is for roads.
I mean,
Then
no,
you got away,
Outside of the reserves, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
outside of the
There's-
reserve.
then you got away, okay.
As
I'm
part of
okay
the
with that.
operating budget, if it's a
Right.
small repair, right.
Right, and, I mean, I approached Sarah on it, and she says, hey, get Tetra Tech to agree that it was a road repair.
Yeah, I mean, there is a procedure kind of already in place that Sarah's using for sidewalks, so.
Right,
Are we allowed to ask questions
Uh,
during this?
No.
At the end of the meeting.
Thank you.
all right,
Okay, so you're gonna be working with,
I will work with Sarah, and I guess we should work with April.
Well, that was the longest verbal report for the shortest written report we've ever had on one.
Are you gonna
Some
revise,
things are better not
are
right.
you gonna revise this, John? Take area 9 out and correct this for the minutes when it go to the board? Cause they'll notice right away.
yeah,
that
Okay,
It's not area 9.
it's not area nine.
right.
Sounds like Area 51.
Yeah, really.
Area
the thing I
9
thought when
sounded
he
like
said
that,
it.
I'll tell you.
John, anything else?
So what do we call it?
No, that's fine,
I
it's
don't know
basically
yet.
at the meeting.
Any questions of John?
Nancy
I
just
have
asked,
a
what do we
que-
call that area? Do we have a,
You know, I have this repair that was done on, that you brought up earlier, on the roundabout.
Oh,
How was that approved and paid for? Who paid for it? How did it come through
it
us?
came through here, that's why I became aware of it, yeah. It was just regular Marescape,
that's damage to
Invoice, but was it-
landscaping
yeah.
in that circle, not road
Yeah.
repair.
It was
Okay,
a
so it
road
was
repair.
damage
was
to
the-
landscaping.
They damaged the sprinkler heads, and then they had to repair replace the turf, cause they ran over it.
But Nancy asked the question, does anybody know what the area that we refer to as Area 9 is called? I mean, I have that same question.
Tract, didn't you say it was tract L, Sarah?
No.
The track L is a very specific area, off of Cypress Grove.
Cypress Grove.
Way, half a mile from this at least or more.
The area
What's
that
the
for
new
the
280?
houses is,
The highway for the houses is track L.
no,
It's like,
no.
what
it's
is,
Prado and Pistola or something,
Pistoia.
Pistoia or whatever
There's a
it
sign
is.
up there that has
Pizzarilla.
community.
Yeah, I'm really talking about the annexed area, what do we refer to that as?
Yeah,
To
that's,
Prado.
that's area 9.
where they are now building.
They're saying
Yes.
it's not.
It's not area
It's
nine.
not area.
How about
The,
we just
the
call it
one
the
across
annex?
the 75, which,
We're talking about
Right.
two different
John,
things.
we're in the
here.
Okay.
community at the flowway.
We're
What's that
talking
got to do with
about
75?
I'm getting out of it.
We're talking about two different things here.
Yeah, the annexed area.
There was discussion at the GSCDD board meeting about Area 9.
Correct.
Area 9 is an area
that requires
west
access.
of
Right.
75 that requires access. You are referring to the
The
place
annexed
where
area.
they're
Cypress
building
Grove.
houses
On the other side
on
of
the
the
other
flowway
side of
of
Ibis.
down
The
What
other
do
side
we
of
all
the-
call that?
That's Prado and something else.
Well, there's three communities
Yeah,
named
Prado,
back there.
Prado,
Pizzarilla.
okay. I will just refer to it as Prado. I just wanted a way of knowing we're all talking.
But area 9
I
has
know what that
nothing
is.
to do
I
with
know what that
us,
is, yes.
guys.
Okay.
No, Area
Nothing.
9 is not us.
That's why it wasn't in
It's
this,
not
that's right.
I have an unrelated question.
This is,
I remember seeing a note from you, Phil, on some notes. I thought it was this GSCDD meeting that Bill Guy voted again, for us to, mandated us to cover up the chevrons on the
That was-
bike lanes.
Yeah,
That was the meeting before.
That was the meeting before that.
that's the meeting before.
Can we appeal that?
Too
It's
late.
done.
What-
Done.
it's
Late,
too late.
done.
They've already painted it.
Isn't worth the effort.
It isn't worth the effort.
It's
I
done.
made the effort, it's done, it's not a big enough issue to worry about.
Three of us spoke to it, the board still voted
The
against
board
us.
still voted against us, 3-2, and by the way, you can still see the chevrons, they're just
Well, yeah.
black.
Now they're black
instead
instead of
of
white.
white.
They're black instead of white.
They're more visible now. The white was being faded
So
away.
it's,
They are more visible.
I think they are more visible now.
Yeah.
we're,
I really
fin-
do.
I love it.
whatever, we're finished with them
Okay.
until we get to the point, I'll get to that in the, safety and security work group report.
Okay.
Until we get to the point of the traffic study and what comes out of it.
Moving right along.
I'll wait.
Yeah. Okay, ponds work group.
The real reason for our meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe we ought to just call you when your report is in. You're gonna come
The first document is an Excel spreadsheet, and this outlines every nickel we have spent out of O2 on infrastructure repair that can now be charged to the bond fund. And if you read it, the three lines up from the very bottom, we have spent $286,015 on drainage repairs. We spent $443,000 and $164 on aeration.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I ask that everybody not talk at once? It's very difficult for me to try to take minutes.
Yeah.
I've got 10
Yeah.
conversations
We're
going on.
sorry, we're sorry.
And it just escalates, so I'd appreciate it if we could. Thank you.
I try to get them to be quiet when I'm talking. Okay, so that total comes to roughly $700,000. The available pool, as we all know, is $984,000. So then I projected two lines up, that we're gonna spend another $100,000 on drainage repairs this year, first quarter of 17. And
Where are you now?
third line up from the bottom under it says drainage repairs.
I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for my report that I got.
900 is the amount that was available due to the
Yeah.
bond fund move over.
Okay.
This is how that 900,000 goes from our O2 expense to bond fund expense. Requisition by requisition, job by job. Even doing everything that we've done from 12 to today, we haven't used up all that money, and we've gotta use it. So where the extra money is the line that's marked anticipated expenditures, 2017. The 100,000 is for the lake around Avila, or the pond in Avila. We've got, everything but the final, estimate for the work. We know what it's gonna cost per foot of lakefront. That's gonna be in the neighborhood of $100,000. Then the second line over is $200,000 for aeration. And as it turns out, the aeration is probably gonna be maybe even 400,000. The aeration is almost as much as what we did the last time, which kind of surprised me, but it's just coming in that way. The engineering reports say this is what we need. So in any event, why I gave you this is you will see where the money came from, item by item, and we will have more than enough to satisfy the $984,000 that's available to us. So that's the first item. The second item is Phase 2 aeration. This is the Marsh-Riley report. And this is where the first time when we did our aeration, the district took on the responsibility of identifying easements and identifying power sources. And from the practical side of the matter, that was a big mistake. This time, we're changing it, and we're gonna have the engineering firm do all that legwork for us. So this contract comes for $20,400 and something. And that will make Tetra Tech responsible for everything. And this is going to the board for approval in their next meeting next week. And so I'm making a motion now, I'd like to make a motion that P-PAC, go ahead.
I'm sorry, 20,400, I'm sorry, yep, I was looking at things, okay.
I would like to make a motion that P-PAC recommend to the board that we accept this Morris-Riley bid package proposal.
This is
for the
$20,000?
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Is there a second to Bob's motion?
Second.
Second, okay, discussion. Questions, discussion?
Is this a
incidentally,
reasonable,
this
I
is
just don't
cheaper.
know, is it a reasonable fee?
Oh my God, yeah, it's cheaper than the last time,
Okay.
and it should be a lot smoother for us to get it done.
And we're very comfortable with Morris Riley.
Morris Riley.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a known quantity for us. Gateway is spending a lot more money to do the little increments that they are doing for the same work. So now,
Any
once
fur-
that money is, before we vote, just comments, once they approve it at the board, and we cut the check, then we'll do two things. This $20,000 will immediately be paid for by bond fund, and then we get the installation costs, and they will go in, and that should deplete it. That'll deplete the bond fund, I'm certain. And this all should be done, I'm hoping by the end of the first quarter, but I'm always an optimist. Okay.
Any further discussions or questions of Bob? If not, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Passed.
Okay.
7-0.
The next one is the Copeland Southern Enterprises. And this is a pilot program for us. And if you look at the pictures in the back, there's 3 pages of homes in the Tiberio and Valentina community. That is going to be the pilot community for us to put in our downspout retention direction ponds to the ponds. Now, the only homes that are going to be considered for work within Pelican Preserve are homes that have downspouts and gutters now. We are going community by community and encouraging the HOAs for homes that may not have it to put them in, either on a community action or to encourage the individual homeowners. This community is the furthest along in this initiative, and that's why they were chosen. And it's 60-some homes here that we're gonna do it. And this will cost us $73,000, which is within $100 of our estimate. When we estimated months ago, we told you what we thought it was gonna cost. We were within $100 of this. Copeland Enterprises did one spot for us last year on Pond 20, and they did an outstanding job. So we're hoping to get out and get this started without competitive bidding, because we always learn the things that we should do and not do once we have our pilots. So we'll be smarter before we put the next one out. And if this goes smoothly, then the second phase will probably incorporate a number of communities, and it will go out for competitive bidding to see how close these guys are to the mark. But they came in with the best prices on Pond 20, and they just did an outstanding job.
Al is the contact person on this.
Who?
Al Harris is the
Oh,
contact.
absolutely not. No.
Why is her email address?
Because we told him that they have to get the bills, not Ponds.
Oh, okay.
And he understands who Doug Zanter is actually the contact person that's doing it all.
Now, do you need any kind of approval here?
Well, I guess, we have already approved the downspouts once for the concept.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion that we accept, the Copeland bid for this pilot program
In the amount of?
in the amount of 73, whatever it is. If you, I don't have it.
76 something.
It's 70, yeah, just
76
add it up.
something.
77.
Whatever that cumulative number is.
Oh, it's the cumulative of
Of
all.
those three. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of these is Tiberio, one's Valentina, and another's a different section of Tiberio.
Okay. Is there a second to Bob's motion?
Second.
Ron seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion on the table?
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
Now, here's one where I jumped Pete back a little, and I called our chairman to buy into it, because I called April to put this on next week's agenda, and that had to be done before our meeting. And the reason I did that is I wanna get this thing approved rather than waiting to January, because this guy's ready to start work in December if we do it.
Actually, you have both of these, right?
Well, the one we'd already talked about, Marsh Valley, so I was very comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, but they're both on the agenda.
Yeah, and they're both budgeted items for us.
Okay.
Okay, non-handout item. Marsh Riley is 99% complete of track L inspections of the sewer pipes and everything, and they say they're all in very, very good shape. When we're gonna get the official report, I expected it last week. WCI apparently isn't pushing for it, even though they're paying for it. So I will just remind everybody that as long as WCI doesn't push, we don't pay, and that's a lot of money each month.
Sure.
So I'm not pushing it. The second part of what Marsh Riley's task was for them to determine a 30% representative sampling of what they inspected in 2012, and go back and re-inspect that now, and we are probably halfway through that. So I'll be able to come back next month, hopefully, and tell you whether our drainage has stayed clean, or whether we then need to do some new things for cleanup. But all in all, it's been all pretty good news. Yes, here's the last thing. We put in pond aeration. We are still under warranty until February. So anything that's been wrong or discrepant with the aeration, it's been covered by, who's doing that for us? Lake Masters. But we engaged a independent company, CES, Community Environmental Services, and they have developed a package of logs where they will inspect these things every month. And the total package is like 6,000, and you've already previously approved that. But the logs will tell us not only where everything is, but the gauges. And if anybody's interested, I've got a couple extra packages I'll be happy to show them. But I just wanted you to see, what your money's going
We
for.
got some of that email.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We try to send everything out,
Yeah. In fact, all the stuff that you
Yeah.
said.
But just be aware that's going on. And I don't have an update yet on our website. The guy's still building it, he's still getting inputs from RWA. But we should be pretty close in 17 to be able to transfer that over to Residents Alliance if we so choose. But I think it's coming together nicely. And that's all I know.
Any questions of Bob? May we all go home now?
And Stephen Bloom is going to certify that bond still has $600,000 from prior years that we have available to spend. And we'll put all that in the down.
Okay. That's it. Capital assets work group. John?
Yes, WCI Legal finally got back to Tony regarding the maintenance agreement. They and I basically dictated what they had in their email that I received. If anybody has any comments, if you want, I can read it. In paragraph 6B, I did not include the report here, so all they want to add is that the, after street light bulbs, as well as the cost of contracting services for landscape maintenance and access control. I'd have to go back to the report itself, if anybody was concerned. The one area that I know the Master Association was concerned about is in paragraph 9, The district shall pre-fund and deposit with the association the amounts necessary to fund any proposed contract prior to the association formally approving same as a duly called meeting of the association's board of directors. What they're basically saying is the Master Association did not have enough funds to fund the contracts all the time. Am I correct, Sarah? Now, you need the money.
Right, we've requested, because we're at constant deficit funding, we're never able to catch up.
Right.
We're always holding checks. If they put the amount in for the basic services at the beginning of each month, we could pay those bills and then deficit fund anything additional.
They also wanted a comment regarding if the CDD terminates the agreement, it shall have the responsibility to assume all contracts, work orders, costs and expenses incurred by the PPAC servicing CDD assets. The CDD shall have the sole obligation to pay the designated vendors directly. I don't think we, PPAC, have a problem with that.
What do you mean costs and expenses incurred by PPAC?
No, by PPAC servicing, because we service the CDD assets through the Master Association. I guess that's the way, this is a quote from the legals. That's how they wanted it legally put. If Tony wants to change it, I gotta leave it up to Tony.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that the servicing is not done by PPAC.
No, by,
Should that be saying PPCA? Rather than PPAC?
That probably is more what it should say.
let me see what the exact email was.
Has Tony bought that? Tony agreed with that?
This was just sent to Tony. I just had a copy of it. I thought I'd bring it up because it just came in the other day.
Well, I'd kinda wait for Tony's comments.
Well, he does, and he has to wait for WCI to come back to him. This was not approved yet by WCI, but I thought I'd bring you up to date.
So we have a document that WCI hasn't approved?
We have legal.
What are we supposed to do then?
We don't have the document yet. Tony
The
will
question is,
send it to us.
why am I reading this? If
Well,
WCI
if
hasn't
we might,
submitted it,
if we have any comments, just like Nancy said,
But it-
I'll
okay.
question.
My question is, until WCI says, here's something for you to look at, there's no reason to look at it.
So I think
No,
that,
this is a back and forth, though.
yeah, this is a
This is back and forth. It's been back and forth.
So WCI hasn't approved it, Tony hasn't seen it, and I'm supposed to.
Well, Tony has
discuss
seen it. Tony's been,
Oh, I thought you just said Tony hasn't seen it,
No, so Tony's seen it.
I said, Tony has seen it.
and he approved it?
He's waiting for any other comments from WCI. It's been sent to WCI. This is just correspondence between the two legal people.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
still not sure why I'm looking at it then.
Well, the next paragraph, if also, WCI told Tony that, if we wanna add comments to this agreement regarding the Cypress Grove lighting, he's welcome to do that. And this is in regards to Phil's comments at our last meeting regarding lines 35 and 36 of Exhibit B. To change the, current maintenance is WCI responsibility, and current funding would be WCI responsibility. Which
Well, I
Tony
guess what
did
I'm
agree
thinking is, I
to.
would expect the capital assets to come here with a summary of what they want us to approve or not, but not engineering. You know, I'm not gonna comment.
I'm
on
confused
individual
by what
line
you're
items.
questioning.
I'm sorry?
I'm confused by what you are questioning.
I'm not sure what I'm looking at or why I'm looking at it. If the work group has approved this, and WCI has approved it, and Tony's looked at it, then I'm ready to look at it, and if we have any comments. But if it's still a working I mean, I don't come in here with the contracts for the ponds or the lakes or ask you guys to talk about what kind of weeds we have, that's what I got a work group for. I bring you a yes or no, vote up or down. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at this, John.
John is trying to give us a preview of.
This
Okay.
thing has been going on for
I
a
might
year
be
and a
way out
half,
of line,
going
I'm
back
sorry.
and forth, and it's come here. You've questioned the, Exhibit B.
Absolutely.
Which we
When the
changed
Exhibit
as
B was put
required.
in front of us and had things that we didn't have control over, you're absolutely correct. Like the conservation areas, I said, we don't control it, so that was an appropriate question for a document everybody else approved.
Be that as it may.
Okay.
Okay,
So this is not here as an action item, this is just.
There's no action, it's just a report,
Information.
that's,
Just information.
it's information report.
I think I
We
like
haven't had
that.
an action item for this because it's been going back and forth between legal, I'm giving you an update.
I think if we could just clarify in paragraph E, the PPAC servicing GSCDD.
I will do that, because I questioned that myself. I
Oh.
just got the email the other day and I just
Okay,
did it verbally.
all right.
Okay, any further questions for John? John, anything more on capital asset work group?
No, that will be it.
That'll be it. Okay. Safety and security work group, number of things. First, as approved by this body, the last time, you approved the proposal from the, safety and security work group with regard to golf carts and bicycles. But you did so with the proviso that we have to conduct a traffic study beforehand. And that process is underway. The safety and security work group has prepared specs for such a traffic report, or a traffic survey. Those specs have gone to Johnson Engineering, and we are waiting for proposal from Johnson Engineering. It turns out that, although we budgeted money to do this particular study, we have funds that were not budgeted that we can use because Johnson Engineering owes us services. And it came from, what was done in Gateway. Bob, you probably know better than I.
Yeah, we had a couple $1,000, $30,000.
With $35,000.
And,
They
we were
spent-
gonna use it to do Pond Bank.
Yeah, they've spent
Surveys,
about,
but-
they've spent about 6,000 of the 35, and we will spend the remainder. The breadth of the traffic study, may be a little bit more limited than some of the people in this group had hoped, because there's only so many funds available to do it. But it will cover what we believe to be some of the major areas having to do with signs, speed limits, where bicycles and, golf carts should go. All of those things will be covered in that.
And that money must be spent before July 1st or it goes away.
Yes, and that money should be spent very shortly, because as I say, we already have the specs. I expect to get a proposal from Johnson Engineering within the next couple of days. The traffic control agreement with the city of Fort Myers is still outstanding. That's another one of the ones that they're putting it through, I don't know, 3 or 4 departments have to approve it before we actually get the agreement that is ready for signature. Once it's ready for signature, then they have to come out and do their survey of signs to make sure that they are, comply with what's needed by the City of Fort Myers Police Department. And once that is done, hopefully we can get the traffic control agreement in place.
Is that something Gail Anthony can help us with?
That's a good thought.
Should I push that button, or you want?
Yeah, let me try Tony one more
Okay.
time, and if that doesn't work, then we could push the Gail Anthony button.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Just, one point, I don't know if you've noticed, in the newer area in the back.
Yeah.
There are 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs out back there.
Really?
You can see them from the golf course.
Well, no kidding. No.
Cool.
You know, next time you're
Well,
out there.
yeah.
There's no homes, but they're putting up the signs.
Well, there's
Yeah.
25 homes back in
No,
there.
but I mean, generally
where that
speaking-
sign is, there are no homes.
Now that they put the roads in, they got the signs, they're down here on the spot.
25-mile-per-hour speed limit
Wow.
right there, which is the only place in our community that I'm aware of that has that speed
Yeah,
limit.
well, one of the
So-
places we're specifically gonna have them take a look at the speed limits is over the bridge on,
Vietnam.
Pelican
Yeah, which
Reserve
makes sense.
Boulevard,
Yeah.
to see whether that one should be stepped up to
At least until
25
you get
miles
to
an
that
hour.
traffic circle
Hmm?
anyway, at least
At least till you get to the,
until you
yes,
get
yeah.
back there.
Well, we only have control over the traffic circle.
Up to that
Once you
point,
get
right.
beyond that, you're into, Plaza.
Plaza.
So, we're gonna have them look at that one, because it may make sense, given the situation on the rest of Pelican Preserve Boulevard, and also because then it would be enforceable by the police
Well,
under the
there's no
traffic control
driveways
agreement.
coming into the road.
Yeah.
Well, I thought this traffic control agreement was, signed, sealed, and delivered in October. It's been amazing.
Amazing,
The
well,
bureaucratic-
and by the way, and it looks exactly like the same traffic control agreements they have with several other communities. I mean, it's.
And yet they're
it's
treating it
almost
like
it's
it's a totally
almost-
new document.
It's
They gave
almost
us those-
identical.
Yeah, they
And
gave us
yet-
copies of that a year and a half
Yeah,
ago.
exactly,
Here
exactly.
it is, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they came out, gave us a speech, here's what we'll do, here's what we won't
Exactly.
do.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And they,
it's amazing.
they're gonna review it for another 3 months.
Right. Also, one other thing on the safety and security work group part of the conveyance, which has to do with things that we have gone back to WCI and said we need done on Cypress Grove Drive. They haven't responded to that either, but as Bob says, they don't seem to be in a big hurry, and so they're still doing all the
Wow.
they're paying for the landscaping, they're paying for everything that's going on out there. They seem in no hurry to get to it, and we're not pushing.
They were great guns in August and they don't
Yeah.
care
Yeah,
less now.
I am not sure what's happening there. It may have something to do with Lenore, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah. So that's it from, by the way, and once this, traffic, survey is done, there are quite a number of other possible safety things, you know, not only involves the golf carts and bicycles, but other safety things we may wanna do in the community as a result of that report. Particularly if they propose things that they think are necessary, we will be back. We now know the procedure for getting those things done, and that is that they can be approved by the Board of Supervisors, but then the board has to go to the city of Fort Myers to get them approved, to get a permit, and to make sure that they are consistent with what the city of Fort Myers believes should be done in terms of their codes and in terms of safety. So at least we know how to get it done once we make proposals. Any other questions about that? Nancy?
I have a comment,
Yep.
just generally on the comment that was made at our last meeting about there being about 400 golf carts and just a handful of bicycles. In Portofino, and I'll speak only for Portofino, we have a lot of people who have golf carts, and we have a couple of families that have 2 golf carts. But we have more bicycles than we have golf carts, just in my neighborhood.
Same for Matarita.
So,
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
that came up at the last meeting, that we don't know how many bicycles there are, is that something that maybe,
It's one of the things we put in the original specs for the traffic study,
okay.
was to get a survey of that, but I'm not sure that's gonna make the cut when we, because it's not as high a priority as some of the other things we wanna get to.
Well, could we just use maybe ask the Alliance to do just an informal study
Sure.
of all the Alliance members to at least get a handle on
sense of
how
the-
many?
Yeah, yeah.
Because to say there was only a couple of dozen bicycles
it's
and.
so wrong.
That
It's
was
so
a-
wrong.
That was
So
a
sorry.
personal opinion that was
Oh,
very
yeah,
biased.
I'm not.
You walk down the street, so you see our bikes in the garages.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
Because you don't know how many are actually used.
I've had mine in garage 12 years and they ain't left yet.
Well, like you say, you don't know
They're
how
still
many are
there.
being used.
But you have a bike.
Okay.
True.
All right.
Anything more on safety and security work group? Background checks, Jan, anything on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ed Tinkle's name and number was given to me. He referred me to Jim Page, who is a lifelong security guy at Gateway Greens. They have the exception that they don't have to comply with the GSCDD mandate to do annual background checks. Gateway has about 1,300 homes, and what they did was they changed their,
Gateway Green.
Gateway Greens.
what did I say?
Just Gateway. Gateway.
Gateway
Sure.
Greens, I need
Yeah.
to be specific, I get it. They changed their contract. Their original contract was a security guard contract. Their security guards were not armed, and I guess they have some public roads too. So really, the function of the security guardhouse was, is for access control and community safety, which is exactly what we have at Pelican. So he made a few recommendations. We can talk about them. Since we are almost identical to them, we have a few more homes. We don't require a security guard contract because our guards aren't armed and all they do is monitor the access and community safety. The contract needs to be changed to access control and community safety. That way, all the security guard issues go away. Plus, Securitas does like 4 or 5 different checks on each new guard they hire. And in talking to Jim Page and other folks, that's sufficient to guarantee that we've got, I mean, these folks don't get paid a lot of money, but you're gonna notice if there's a behavior change. So the recommendation, one of the other things they did, which I really liked, they don't have roving patrols paid for by the security company. For Pelican, each community would have a neighborhood watch where folks would take turns, and he says it saves them a ton of money. And folks learn to take care of each other that way. They look out for one another. So I would recommend, based on what Jim Page said and others, that we change our contract. And I was gonna bring it up when Bob was here, but I thought, no, this could like consume a lot of meetings. I think it would behoove us to be more accurate in having a contract for Securitas that says access control and community safety.
I think it might.
What does it say now?
I think that's exactly what it says.
Do we know
I
what
don't
it's-
know. I don't know what it
says
says.
I
Jason?
honestly can't recall off the top of my head what the title is on it. I know they call them access attendants. But I'd have
If we
to-
call it access control and community safety, we don't have to comply with what the GSCDD is, because theirs is for security guards.
Okay.
We don't have
And
on
I do
that.
have one question. Right now, I know Securitas gets a report of anybody that is working in that position does something that triggers, like a misdemeanor or something, they get a report.
Right.
If we're not calling them security guards, will that report end?
I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry, Nancy, you said we're not.
Okay, Securitas,
Yes,
no.
yes, no, I understand that, but you're saying we're not,
Okay, if we don't call them security guards anymore, will that reporting system not be in effect anymore because they're no longer security guards? So Securitas wouldn't get notified maybe if somebody committed a crime that was working for them? Right now, they
We're
do.
getting into technical wordsmithing, and it's a good point, because it makes a big difference. I'm not sure if security officer,
Because I know right now Bob says they get
it's the
that
word
report.
guard that GSCDD was using. Security guards, which are typically armed, then you have to have the annual background checks. And I'll tell you, at the TSSCI level in the government, you don't have annual background checks.
And see, I didn't feel they were necessary because of Bob French telling us that he gets a report if any of them
yeah.
commit a crime or something. I just wanna make sure if we do away with the requirement to have
If
that
you change the
background.
title, we don't wanna lose that
We don't
requirement.
wanna
We don't-
lose that.
But we don't know for sure what the current title
Title
is.
is.
Correct.
Right.
So, Jan, it seems to me you need to do some more work on this, find out,
Joy?
work with Jason, find out what the
Current
current
title is.
agreement says, and.
Get comments from them.
And get comments from Bob French,
Do you have
You
it?
know,
and see whether we could,
the impact
could
of all
we,
that.
could
Yeah,
we,
they- yes, they
if
have
there's
it.
a change necessary, could we make the change? So you need to explore a little further, and then you can come back with a recommendation.
Okay, I'll be
And-
glad to
and
do
I
that.
would- Jan, I would have one caution. In the past, we have looked into not having the roving patrol, because it's a big cost.
Yeah.
You are 100% correct.
Yeah, it is huge.
But there would be, at that time, and I'm going back when we were 1,000 residents, there was no support to eliminate, none. It was overwhelmingly endorsed by the community to keep the roving patrol.
When was that,
Even at the
Bob?
cost. This was when we were at 1,000 owners.
About half the size we are now.
So I just, a piece of information. And before we would change it, I would
Yeah.
not be comfortable if we didn't serve in the community.
We have, and we
Well, I
have.
think it's worthy of discussion at the president's
I-
meeting
I agree.
and
Oh,
at Residents
absolutely.
Alliance.
I
think-
agree.
I agree.
I'm
I
just
agree.
letting you know it's a real
And-
emotional
and-
issue.
And we have previously mooted the idea of neighborhood watch, and in a lot of places, you couldn't get anybody interested in it.
That's right.
That.
Or the guys you got interested you didn't want.
Yeah.
Jim
Well,
Bragg.
Were you-
That's the real issue. You'll have guys riding around in their own private cars with guns.
With guns. We got a couple Marines that did
Seriously,
it.
you would.
Okay,
Seriously, so we
that
have to
is
be very
not a
sensitive.
good safety issue. Holy cow.
Just saying.
Was the requirement, I'm curious, was the requirement to go till like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
It's 24 hours. When he's not doing something else, he's supposed to be roving.
But when you have neighborhood watch, because it's worked so well in communities I've lived in, it goes till about midnight, period.
I
And you had
think
to
you're
do it maybe once a year in our community. It was great.
But don't forget, you've got a community that has, say, 50 houses.
Some communities are much bigger than the others,
And some are
Well,
much
yeah,
bigger than,
mine's like
but,
100 and
but-
some.
but we have 50.
but,
60.
and half of those are seasonal, so they're only here 6 months of the year, and.
And the half that are here are old.
Are aging.
That's the other difference.
I beg to differ with you.
Are aging.
Maturing.
And I
Maturing.
think you find a difference between a retirement community wanting to do community patrols and any other community. We did them where I used to live too, but I don't think I'd find any of my neighbors willing.
I'll look into
Jan,
this.
Jan, what I will tell you,
Yeah,
is that
we don't need any of those guys around right now.
once the traffic control agreement is signed, which will bring the police in here more frequently, the Safety and Security Work Group plans to work with both the Lee County Sheriff's Office as well as the City of Fort Myers Police Department to set up a safety program. Within that program, since we're gonna have more we believe we'll have somewhat more police presence, we will be looking at suggestions they have, which could include neighborhood watch. And
Well,
to
it-
see whether that's a viable program.
For me, it's a common sense approach that if we live in not a gated community, but definitely a controlled access community, and no one really gets in after 9, 10, 11 o'clock. I mean, they can't go through to the guard gate to get permission to come in.
Yeah, they can.
And the new system won't allow contractors to come in after certain hours. So that gives us a level of security. Why do we need 24/7 roving patrol?
Because
Two-word
people
answer.
walk in.
Two-word answer, George Zimmerman.
Well,
Remember Trayvon Martin?
And let's go
Yes.
the other way on that. Some of the incidents we have had in here, some of the vandalism incidents and some of the robbery incidents have occurred after
2 a.m.
12 o'clock.
Really?
Because-
Oh, yeah.
Because they come in, now
we
they run
have-
through the
We
gate.
have permeable
We do.
Perimeters.
borders.
We do.
People walk in.
Right across the golf course.
Exactly, and
Well,
that's
there
where,
is a
and
fence
that's
there
where
now,
they've,
but
that's
it's
where
not
they've come from.
insurmountable.
Is roving patrol, are roving patrols gonna be able to catch that?
Not
No.
necessarily.
No, it's just kind of the threat of it, that's all.
It's just
Fact is
it,
there.
you know, so there's some things we can't avoid.
It would require a real selling effort to convince the majority of our residents to say we can do without a roving patrol. There's a lot of concern out there about safety and having this patrol going around the community. A lot of people feel
Well,
If we
good
were
about
gated,
that.
I would say yes, but we're not, so.
Well, let me just give you a couple of examples that I think Sarah or Bob gave at one of the other PPAC meetings. The roving patrol was there to help when there was an emergency at somebody's home, to help get help in. I think somebody had a heart attack or something, and they were able to get there and get help in and so forth. And it was because people know to call the gate, the rover gets out there, and it gets handled. So, and that's not something on your community watch that I'm gonna look up and say,
You call 911.
Joe Smith, yeah, well,
Yeah, call 911.
well, I'm
And,
just
and if
saying.
somebody
I hear
comes
you.
to the gate in a belligerent attitude, you can't deny him. We call the rover and he follows that person.
That's right, and he follows the person in.
And then the gate officer calls the police to come, find
Yep.
out why they're there. So there are some things they do. Hey, I'm all about saving money, I'm with you 100% there, but
It's not just about saving money, is there a true value added for the money we're spending for the
it's a
safety and
mental
security?
intangible probably.
Yeah, I think it's an intangible. People feel more secure.
But we're not.
No, but But the residents have to support what we're doing, and if we take away something that makes them feel secure,
Okay.
they're gonna fight us on that.
I will coordinate with Jason and take a look at the current contract.
Yep, okay.
I will put some recommendations together for the next meeting.
Okay,
Um,
and background checks, that sounds good. Any-
But that's how they got away with not doing the GSCDD mandate,
Okay,
because they don't have
Sounds good.
security guards.
sounds good.
And you'll talk to Bob French too at some point?
Stony Brook is the same way? Okay, here we go.
Okay, any more questions of
I'll
Jan?
fight that one to the end.
Okay, any more questions of Jan? Okay, Gateway meeting attendance schedule. I would like to ask, I am assigned to the next meeting, which is the 15th of December. I am going to have difficulty staying there for the entire meeting. Is there anybody who could sub for me? The 15th of December?
I can do it if nobody wants to do it.
I'm gone that afternoon.
Um,
I'm gonna be in a meeting, but I don't wanna spend the whole meeting.
Did I hear?
So you just need somebody to stay to the
John?
end, because two people
John?
don't wanna stay to the end.
Well, I'm gonna go for the two things that I've got.
I could come late in the meeting.
No, John, you'd be willing to do it?
I'll do it again.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Now let's look at the days in January. We need people to do January. I could do, there's one on the 5th, I believe.
I could do the 19th.
I'm,
You can do it?
I'm here on the 5th.
Okay, well, why don't, I'll take the 5th. Ron, you'll take the 19th?
Sure.
Jan, you wanna take the next one, the first one in February?
What day?
Second.
Second.
Second of February.
Groundhog Day. Yeah, I'm all over it.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I'll be January 5th. The 19th is Ron, and February 2nd is Jan.
Just to confirm, the meeting starts at 2?
3.
Three.
Thank you.
And goes forever.
Yeah.
It's done. Goes forever.
Until it's
And
done.
some of us attend part-time. Okay. Okay. Audience comments. Please, if you've got a comment, if you'd come up here and introduce,
Sure.
say your name and where you live, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, my name's Joe Schofield. I live in Carina. And three things have come to my mind. First one, and to me the most serious, is drainage pipes. And I heard that we have a report that they're all good. I have a video of one leaking water coming into the pipe from outside. I've tried to contact people. I'm not sure what's happened to it, but I talked to the contractors that were in there inspecting them, and they said a lot of pipes had that problem. I just happened to get a video of one of them that they had open. So I would hopefully think that we should, before the thing gets turned over from, I think WCI still controls
They
those
control
roads.
all of it at this point.
There are leaks, and there's water coming in from outside. I've heard all kinds of excuses, but man, I'll give anybody a copy of that. It's pouring in.
I think I've seen that, Joe.
Okay,
And-
well, we should not get stuck paying for
I
something that
completely agree.
WCI is responsible for.
But it went to WCI. I think you sent that to, the video I saw went to.
I did not send it to
I got a
WCI.
courtesy copy of it.
Good.
And
Well, I
that
tried to
needs to be-
contact the right people, but God knows how you
Just
even find them.
Send it to me again. I'll get the right people.
Okay, but we should not be paying a dime to fix
The one
that
I saw
stuff.
appeared to be a spring or something feeding in. It wasn't really a leak. in
If
the
it's a
sense of-
spring leaking in, it shouldn't, no water
Hear
should
me out,
have
hear me-
access
no.
from outside in.
I'm not disagreeing,
Okay.
but it's a difference calling it a leak, and it's a spring. And the spring is going into the,
Well, the spring is in the community then. It could be
I
around
agree with
houses,
you,
it
and it
could be
should be fixed.
sinkhole issues, there's a lot of issues. Okay, I just want to make a point that we're all aware that these pipes, we might be getting good reports. WCI got the videos of what those inspectors did.
we do too.
Okay, well, okay. The other thing I really wanted to talk about, and a brief answer probably will handle it, roads and sidewalks. Who is responsible for roads and sidewalks in our communities? I've heard different answers. One is we're responsible for them. If there's a hole, we gotta repair the road, resurfacing. The HOA community is responsible for the roads. Recently, I was told we aren't responsible for any. It's the CDD that will repave roads, resurface roads, and take care of them. I'm just looking for a firm answer. What is the truth for that?
Bob, you
I live in Carina, and I know that's
Okay.
not turned over yet, but
Well,
who will
okay.
own it?
The district owns certain roads, and certain roads are public roads. In the communities, they're all part of the district. And this is what happened with Monticello and the road that was.
Yeah, that's what I was keenly interested in.
Okay. The district won't take action because somebody doesn't like the way something looks. In all due respect to any of us. They don't react because I don't like it. They react because there's an engineering deficiency. There is a hazard from an engineering point of view. And when that occurs, then they will fix it. The individual homeowners in some of our communities have taken to painting the streets. That's not a repair, it's a cosmetic, I like it, and they paint them. And that
Okay, they put
happens.
a coating of something on it
Whatever.
to
It's
protect it.
basically paint.
But
They
they
call
do,
it
that's
sealer.
just a decision they've made on their own, and
Absolutely.
their homeowners are willing to pay for that.
Absolutely.
But it's not a necessary requirement.
But no one in the district is gonna do that for any community.
Sure, I could
Okay.
understand that. I wouldn't if I was on that
Yeah.
board.
So I
Okay.
don't know if that answered your question. now, but
Well,
the
it does
district
answer the question. In
is-
fact, if there's a maintenance issue, there's a hole, and the road is old and needs to be repaired, they will resurface it. We as a community will not, and I've been told we as a community may end up having to do that, and that's been.
Okay, now let me go a little bit further. This doesn't apply to you, but it does apply to the community. If you live in Palazzo, if you live in Ravenna, if you live in Siena, your community begins at the entrance to your parking lot. That road has nothing to do with the district.
Okay.
That is entirely the cost.
So I
borne by
live
the
in,
residents.
I live in Carina,
Carina,
we've
you're
got.
not apply, it
Pelican-
doesn't apply
okay.
to you. But,
Great.
You know, it's difficult to make the blanket
I
statement.
love your answer, I will
Well,
tell you. That means I'm not on the
But the
hook
people
to
in
fix
Palazzo
it.
don't like the answer.
I'm sure they don't, and I would respect that.
Yeah.
The other concern I have is sidewalks, and I walked around sidewalks before, well, a year ago, and I found 2x4s and wood embedded in the sidewalks in our community. They are now rotting out and leaving holes. I've brought that to the attention of folks at Pelican Preserve. Again, I'm not sure where that has gone, and I don't have experience in Florida, but I know where else I lived. If I had a problem with my sidewalk, I was responsible for 50% of fixing it, and the community took the other 50%. Now, we have community sidewalks, they're only on one side of the street, so it's a community thing. But again, WCI still owns those sidewalks from what I understand. And if there's 2x4s embedded in these things and it's rotting and someone's going to trip ultimately, shouldn't WCI come through and fix those?
Get a list to us as quickly as you can, because now is the time when they're trying to convey it,
They're trying to convey it.
that we
Well,
can
that's,
step in and say,
again, a year ago, I brought this to people's attention, and
Whose
my-
attention do you bring it to?
Well, I brought it to Henry Chavera is one. I don't want to point fingers, but I will. Henry's one of them, and I've sent videos of these
well,
things.
Henry's not timid about sending out letters, and Henry's a good follow-up guy, but
Was.
well, he's still there. But that's the kind of thing that has to go to Tetra Tech.
Well, see, now, I didn't know where to go, and I
I
was just,
understand.
one point I
Not
was told.
criticize, I'm-
No, that's good. Tell me where to go,
Well,
and
you
I will
just send
take
it to
care
me,
of it.
and I will get it to Tetra Tech, and I'll do
Okay.
the follow-up on it.
We've
I'll
met,
get it.
I can't
Bob?
remember your
No,
name.
Bob.
Well,
Bob,
I
okay.
think,
I've
hey,
talked
Bob,
with
I
him.
think it should come here, because I'm gonna be working
I
with
was gonna
Tetra
say,
Tech.
John is gonna be working with.
I'm gonna
Okay,
be
well,
working
the
with
reason, only
Tetra-
reason I said it to go to Tetra Tech is because they're gonna do the command. But by all means, take it. If you want it, you got it.
Yeah,
Don?
John.
Send it,
Okay.
John Greger.
John, okay.
Okay.
yeah.
How do you spell your last name, John?
Grega.
Okay, how do I contact you?
Email, just John Greger, 1945@gmail.com. And the reason I say, because I know Sarah wants to set up a procedure regarding a minor repair versus a major repair. And what I think we're gonna look into is a major repair that's gonna require Tetra Tech to come out and maybe write the specs for, versus something that could be a minor repair that we can just work with the master association on an existing budget that they already have for sidewalks.
The difference here
Is
is that
WCI,
WCI still owns it, and
There's
they
a
would
lot of
like-
homeowners
They
associations.
would like to turn it over as soon as possible, so the sooner you can get that to John.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
John
don't
can
let
get
them
it to
walk all
Tetra
over
Tech.
Now
us,
we
which
have
they seem
leverage
to
make it
do.
fix it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
now we
Okay.
have
Right.
the leverage.
3 months, we won't.
Yep.
Okay, you got it. I'm on your team, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Whoops, that chair got me
I'm ready to
too.
keel over.
Morgan and Morgan.
I got some attention, thank you, guys.
They only take cases that make a lot of money.
Okay, any other further comments? Don, up to the,
Hi, Don Schaefer, Sienna. I just wanted to comment something on Nancy when she brought up about the arms. If you remember when you was talking about putting the lights on there, I said they were pretty, but they wouldn't do any good stopping anybody. Prove that. The other thing is, I'd like to know, at that same time, I asked who repaired these and why people aren't held responsible, and I think Sarah told me that it was minor and they had a group that fixed it. Well, I don't think that is correct. I think we should hold people responsible. If they're gonna run through there, they need to, their insurance company, somebody needs to pay for these things. And the one going out, when it's up, I heard him say that he's gonna leave it up or whatever. I'm petrified when I go through there now because the damn thing's coming down, so I stop, and then there's got somebody on my butt, then it goes halfway up. It's either has to be up or down, because I don't want my car scratched, I'm sorry. And these people that hit these things, that's gotta hurt their vehicles. I don't understand, to get back to your Rover, if your Rovers can't see that, how in the hell they see anything else driving around? I just think Cerritos, the security company, needs to pay a little more attention to these things. And I also heard you say something about insurance paid for one of them.
More than one.
Okay,
When we can identify now, they're billing.
do they fix them or they just put them up dented? Because there's one right now, the very one where you come in, where the end's all smashed on it.
Yeah.
It's been that way for a month or two now. To me, that's not fixing it. And the other thing I've noticed when they come down, since they put the lights on them, they bounce like a basketball.
They do.
They do.
And somebody told me it's because the lights weighed more. I don't believe that either. I think it's all in the way they're adjusted. And I noticed that of late, they haven't been doing as bad. But I just think somebody needs to follow up on these things. And the one that's damaged right now, if we have insurance, my God, replace it, because it's deplorable.
And the insurance is the person that hit its insurance.
No, I think you just,
But the person who hit it.
is that for that one?
Yeah.
It was
But
for-
you hit it, Don, then we go to your insurance company.
Absolutely.
Replace it,
That's
yeah.
what I'm
And
trying
that's
to
what it
say.
should be.
That's what needs to be done.
That's, and
That's what's.
And I can't believe if somebody hit that one that you wouldn't have known who done it. Now, the ones going out where they come down on the back of a truck or something, I can kinda understand.
Because they just keep right on going.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other part with that, you could take that arm off of there and put the things down where you come across them, you get flat tires, if you go this way, you don't, and take the darn thing down. But anyway, that's just, I'm standing up for what you said, absolutely.
Anybody else? Trudy, yeah.
Hi, Trudy Fletcher Trieste. For those who may not be aware, I just want to let you know that the presidents of every HOA and representatives from the communities that are not turned over meet on a monthly basis. And over this past year, I think we've made significant progress in formalizing the group and formalizing structures for us to be able to get information to the residents and also to get information from the residents to bring back to the group to help in problem solving. And what I would like to do is to urge all of you, when you are considering ways to get information out to the residents, I know you automatically think of the Alliance. I would like for you to also automatically think of the President's Group, because there are people, residents within Pelican who are not members of the Alliance and sometimes do not get the same information, regardless of, you know, whether they choose or not to. But the President's Group is another avenue where we can reach every resident that lives in Pelican. So I would just like to try to help raise awareness for every group that is meeting to also think of the president's group as an opportunity to get information out. And also if you're looking for representatives that represent, whatever particular issue, I think our group is going to continue to evolve, and we may have people who would be willing to act as a representative to assist in some of the issues that we're all facing today.
Can anyone attend the president's group meeting?
The question is, can anyone attend the president's meeting? Actually, we're evolving. And just today, there were nominations for the 2 chair positions. And I think one of the issues that is going to be looked at is the attendance of the meetings. Right now, it's been for the presidents, and there's been representatives from different groups, for example, WCI, Castle, the Alliance. As we go forward, I think we're going to be looking at the attendance, and I can't say right now where that's going to go.
Would a PPAC member be allowed to sit in?
Yeah,
I wanna sit
Phil
in.
is certainly there.
I would like to go too.
I'm also a president, so I
We,
sit in
our community doesn't have a
representing us
voice
as
to
well.
speak
Yes,
of yet,
yes,
because we're so
yes.
new. I would love to go to the meetings.
How do you address that? I mean, like, our community, if the president can't go, I mean, I've gone in place of him, et cetera. But if a community is not turned over and you don't have, are they?
Yes, there's
We
usually
have
a lead, there's usually
one
a
that's
lead-
gone,
a
but
lead
brand new.
representative from.
Right.
You have Jerry
from the
on.
unturned
We have
over
Jerry.
communities. And so there are
Do you
2 of us
elect
who
them?
are now going because
No, we
Nancy was
didn't.
just elected president of her community. So at least 2 PPAC members will be there.
What I'm saying though is, for Matarita, I mean, we're all new.
It's all right.
We have a ton of issues involving WCI and all kinds of issues, but we don't have a real voice, and poor Jerry is brand new to this. And we got a note a week before it was required to send any notices of sidewalk cracks or driveway cracks. Well, most of us have damaged driveway ends where it meets the curb by the street. That way, when we moved in, and Jerry came back and said, "You're responsible for fixing it." And it's like, no, we're not. We shouldn't be. It was on my report, but WCI is saying, we're not responsible. We just need a stronger voice somehow.
And you're not turned over yet.
We're not turned over yet, but I don't know where the sales are right now, but
Well, we're having issues too. They just did our final lift, and chunks of the asphalt are coming out.
okay, never mind.
Look,
I'll
let me
table
ask
it.
a question on driveway issues. Doesn't the homeowner inspect that before they buy?
It was on my list.
It was on a punch list?
Mhm.
And what did WCI say regarding the
Not
punch
their
list?
responsibility anymore. It's not even been a year.
I'm confused with that.
Me too. Bunch of us are.
Does anybody know an answer?
Well, it would be an issue that President's Council might be able to address.
Yeah, I think
I will
that's
send
actually
it
a
to-
very good example.
I'll send it to Jerry with some photos to say, hey,
Yes.
But
here's an example of what we're talking about.
So one of the things that we're finding is, one person or one neighborhood has an issue. Once they start talking about it, it becomes much more of a common issue than anyone knows. And I think that's really the value of having a group such as the President's Group to be able to address it together in strength.
Because we
So
don't
I
have
would
HOA
encourage you to
meetings
do
yet.
that.
That would be a normal
See, that's the
channel.
problem.
Yes.
We don't have HOAs yet.
Yeah.
Meetings.
So,
Okay, thank
All right.
you.
like our bicycle count, that would be something that we could maybe ask the presidents to provide to us so that we'd get the whole community.
I would think that would be a group that you certainly could approach.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would think so too.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, Trudy, thank you. Any other comments?
Just an issue, my yard, grass, plants, palm trees were all dying. Actually, half of them are dead. And Ameriscapes came out and said two of Gateway's major pumps broke. And it services more than just Matarita. But it broke like a month ago, but they never notified anyone in Pelican. They said they since have, and Pelican was gonna put a note out, but I have not seen anything. He said, so we're gonna try and water to bring these plants back. He said they were gonna water every day, they're not watering every day. Lots of issues there, but it's not just Matarita, it's other communities, but Ameriscapes did not tell me who the other communities were. So this is another common issue that may be more common than we realize. We think it's isolated to just a few homes, but it's bigger than that.
Are you on Gateway Water?
I am,
Okay.
I am, and it smells like sulfur again. I hate it.
It's 'cause it's recycled.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's disgusting.
Sewer water.
Thank you.
J-
Coming out of my
Jason-
faucets.
Jason, were you aware of the pumps going out?
Not until they,
I can actually speak, yeah, what happened was, we got an email that said our pumps were broke and we just got them fixed, so they should be good now. That was the communication, so the communication to go out would have been ineffective because it had been resolved, that issue. How long they were off, we weren't aware, nobody from CDD sent anything out.
That's something we should ask April.
Based on my
Yeah,
watering
Jan,
system, about a month.
Jan,
And it
you ought to
affected
consider
everybody that
coming
was CDD water.
to the CDD meeting. You fill out a slip and you get a chance to talk to the board. That would be a perfect kind of item to bring
Yeah.
to the board.
Next meeting is when?
15.
15.
You wanna, you wanna stay to the end? There's gonna be 4 people
I,
there.
I will probably be late, that's all. Is it okay to come late?
You can't be late 'cause public
Can't be
comments are-
late to make a
Public
comment.
comments are the first part of it, and then you get to fill out and say you wanna do it.
And I'll see if I can
3 o'clock.
find that email and so I can give you the exact date that we were notified.
Well,
But-
and the other issue is Ameriscape said, we're gonna come out and water every day. It's happened once, just once. And in the end of Matarita too, there's this humongous palm tree. It was gorgeous. It is dead. That's gotta be a $5,000 tree. Who's gonna pay for that? It shouldn't come out of our contract. Ameriscape shouldn't either if it's part of this watering issue. So, yeah, things like that.
If you give me the narrative of what you wanna say, I'll be happy to make a presentation for you.
Thank you. I will. Send it, Bob.
I'm gonna be in the
You're
meeting
gonna
anyway.
be in the meeting? Yeah.
Okay. I would love to go. I just, thank you.
The board members really respond.
Yes.
You know, if you get a bunch of neighbors and you come in force
Yeah.
with the pitchforks and the torches, you get action.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm not
Yeah.
kidding.
Something,
And
it's
they are the ones-
embarrassing.
They're the ones who run the utility.
Yep, this
They
is
run-
them.
They run the utility. Further comments from members? Okay, the next meeting is January 12th. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, meeting is adjourned.
4 o'clock.
Geppert was about to
3:59.
sprint out the door.
I'd like to be ready.
1 hour and 59 minutes.
Just don't know why we spend all this time talking about stuff other than politics.
Oh, there's one or two other subjects,
Two
Bob.
invoices for where they went, did the traffic circle.
Oh, I liked this morning's meeting when the person wanted the
This one.
electric sign.
Yeah, and this one is, this place
Oh,
in
did
the
she
spray,
have
this
it?
one's for the church.
Oh, you had apologized for photographs.
I've been so busy.
Pelican Reserve Boulevard.
I just got off the pack and one stupid cyan.
All right, let me talk to Sarah.
Wild Wednesday tonight.
I'm just so frustrated with this. I can't get it resolved.
I'm on my way.
All of us started.
Hey, Chris, Mr. Gebhardt.
How are you?
Good. I was hearing some discussion on.
Yes, Chris, I was just gonna say.
So I.
Jan, yo, ready.
Second water.
Oh,
He's
you're
the
the
guy
guy I
with the
wanna
big
talk
target
to.
Plant style, because your pumps were down. At least that's her story, and she's sticking with it.
That's the story she
Hi.
was told.
I live in a fairly new
Chris is the
subdivision.
ops manager.
Okay,
Chris Shoemaker, Jan Beers.
so I've been
Thanks.
following
I know we've talked, but
Ameriscapes for about a month, and several of us have. Our sprinkler systems weren't working, our lawns have died. My lawn is so crunchy, it hurts your feet to even step on it. Plants have died. I spent $3,000 already to put special plants in. They're dead because of lack of water. Ameriscapes came out the other day, and as a result of being so dry, some of them became diseased because of their escape story. They understand that 2 of Gateway's major pumps broke. Gateway never notified Pelican Preserves. Pelican Preserves wasn't aware that it was the pump issue. So when they finally came out, he says, we think we've got it solved, we'll stop the water. But as a result, grass is dead, plants are dead, and Gateway never notified Pelican that there was an issue. I mean, we could have hooked up sprinklers, we could have done other stuff, but now I'm gonna be spending another $1,800 to $2,500 to replace the plants that died because there was no water getting
We
to
have
them because
leverage to fix the place.
That's one way to look